she really has to really tick that box for you to just go over the line and say, actually, I want to marry her.
They could think, oh, he's not thinking about what it means and security and love and union. It's like, yeah, the marriage is great. It's the divorce that I don't want to do.
Exactly. If you're not religious, for example, some people are religious, but if you're not religious, what does it really mean? What's the difference?
If divorce was illegal like it used to be, do you think more men would get married?
People have this fear of marriage now.
I can just imagine like people from the Kazomba scene be like, oh, where's Murray? I haven't seen him for time. Oh, he got into a relationship, so he's not here anymore. Yo guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. I'm sitting in this spot, which means I've got a great conversation lined up for you today. You know, on this channel, we love to talk about all things dating, relationships, and seeing what we can do to attract the kind of person we want. So without further ado, please welcome Bones to the show. Bones, magical Bones in the building. Come on.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. I mean, we bumped to each other. What was it? Was it a month ago we bumped to each other at that event?
Do you know what? I think it was a month ago. It was that the Patrick Allen, it's like music night in Knightsbridge.
Yeah.
It was a dope night as well.
Yeah,
Usher singers were there, and it was dope.
100%. I was like, it's been a minute since I've seen this guy, and he's been growing out here doing his thing. But I want to get your take on dating. That's what we're here for.
Right.
So listen, I like to jump straight in. So first, tell us your age or your age range, and something a girl should know about you if you're going to take on a date.
What did you say? Age range?
Yeah, because I'm used to having women on the show. Right. And like, they want to say their age range, not always their age. So always give the option.
I'm actually 43 years of age.
Come on.
Yeah. And what else did you? What was the other question?
What's something a girl should know about you if you're going to take her out on a date?
I am someone who's very conversational. Mm-hmm. I like people that like to have fun. And the most thing I want to do is get to know someone. I love to really, really get to know you. So, I mean, if I was to go on a date, I wouldn't be interested that much into like, let's go skating or doing mad activities. Mm-hmm. I would rather probably sit in a coffee or sit somewhere like this and have a chat and just get to know someone. I'm someone who likes to have like deep conversations. And also, like I said, I have two sides of me. I also have fun. Like I used to be a dancer as well. So
of course. But, yeah. Do you find like, because I'm guessing you've dated some girls who are dancers, some girls who are not, right? Do you find like there's a difference in temperament in terms of their willingness to do fun things and having that chat, or do you feel like it just depends on the girl?
That's an interesting question. I feel like personally, in the past, I've always been attracted or always matched with people that kind of have a similar sort of kind of vibe to me.
Yes.
So when I've been on dates, it's always kind of been the same sort of kind of interest and same sort of vibe. So it's not been like, I've never really had anyone that says to me, oh yeah, I want to do something crazy, because I know that people do all that. Yeah, I want to do the most craziest thing on a first date or nothing. I've never really had that.
Yeah.
So I kind of, whether they're dancers, whether they're singers, whether they're normal 9 to 5s, it's always people that just kind of similar to my sort of vibe.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think is like the biggest obstacle for people to find relationships nowadays? Like, what do you think is the hardest thing in dating that we're facing right now?
Whoa, it's a lot to unpack. It's a small question, but there's a lot going on in there.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing in dating scene is really, I think the biggest obstacle is like people are struggling to sort of like people are looking for perfection, right? A lot of people are looking for perfection. And a lot of people use these dating apps. I've never been on a dating app.
So I reckon you get a lot of attention just because of what you do and everything.
Yeah, right? I mean, I have a sort of different sort of take on certain things, which we'll probably get into. But I find that like people always find imperfection. So you go on and assume like people go on a dating app and they fill in the categories and the criteria. Also, or maybe they DM on social media and stuff. And like they have this kind of, it's all sort of box ticking,
sure.
And people just don't leave any room or space to just like
be flexible
and allow some growth into learning to get to know someone. So I think like they're just like, because you see a lot of people, there's a lot of single people out there, and they're always like, they always struggle to like, I'm struggling to find this person. You're like, why? There's so many millions of people out there. Why are we all struggling?
Yeah.
And I think people are just searching too much for that perfect, to fit in that perfect box, and you got to leave room to grow. So yeah, that's what I kind of think is one of the biggest issues. Maybe not the biggest, but one of the.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Do you think, in your experience, have you seen that more with guys like trying to look for the perfect girl, or more like girls trying to look for the perfect guy?
I'll be honest, it's probably girls trying to look for the perfect guy.
Yeah.
Guys are a little bit more open. Like they're a little bit more. I mean, dating is really decided by the ladies, I guess. Guys are a bit more open and willing to see things through, whereas women sort of like they hit a certain age and say, I'm looking for the perfect guy. Like he has to tick these boxes, and he has to look like this, have this amount of money, X, Y, Z. And then there's just so many a lot of friends and people I know, they're just all single, and I'm like, right, like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. When you say like women at a certain age, what age do you notice this shift in them?
I'll probably say like late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
That's when I see like that date. Like obviously I'm older, so I've seen a lot of ages. I've seen the 21, 22, 23, 24.
Yeah.
But when it gets to like the late 20s and 30s, the ladies that I've come across always seem to be a bit more picky. And I guess it's maybe because that's that age range where like I want to get married, have kids, and blah blah. But it's hard because they don't leave. They're just sort of, sometimes they're just a bit too rigid with that thing. Yeah.
Have you felt like, if you've been on dates with girls in this age range, have you felt a pressure of them like, cool, so can we get married next year and be pregnant the month after that? Have you felt that pressure? Like as a guy, do you feel it or not really?
I have felt that pressure in the past, even with my own self in the past. When I was that age, I sort of like had a sort of similar sort of understanding about society and when you're meant to do things. And I'm African, so like I have the whole the family this expectation of like, when you're reach a certain age, you should have achieved this and be at this certain stage. But a lot of my female friends that are like, the early 30s, late 20s, they are definitely have that pressure. Everything's so serious. And I've seen that a lot, especially with my friends. It's like, yo, like they say that I can't find anyone, but then you want it's just too rigid. Yeah.
It's funny because I think I've spoken to quite a few guys where if they're not ready to settle down yet, they will likely, and I've even had a girl on the show who, she says she coaches guys, and she even says she tells guys to stay away from these kind of women as well, as in, if you're not ready to settle down as a guy, then women between the age of like 29 to like 35 probably just stay clear if they want families, because a lot of the time they're looking for marriage and kids and engagement within the next 2-3 years. So you're just not compatible in terms of your timing, in terms of what you're wanting. Do you know what I mean? But then I guess if you're around that age as a woman, who do you go for? But I guess a lot of the time they'll go for older.
Yeah, they go for older. And I feel like because guys, obviously, they've got the women I've come across have this pressure of like, if you want kids, you might want multiple kids. And there's a sort of like a time limit, isn't there? Like when, to have them and then be like in a good way where there's not that many risks.
Yes.
Things are changing. But if you want to do it sort of in a way there's no risk, there is that pressure, that time limit with girls. Whereas guys, like we can have that a little bit longer and a little bit later. And so that there's not really that same sort of pressure. So I guess that's why like when a girl reaches like 28, 29, it gets a bit
just locks in.
Like,
locks in.
It's like dating with intention now. It's like, I want to get married, want to have kids, probably 3 kids. And then by 31, and then they want to start. But life is not like that.
It's not like that.
Life really isn't like that. So, and then once people realize that, it's like, and you take that burden of like, I have to do this. It's like, things do change.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think guys ever get to a point where they feel that pressure? Being like, okay, I need to start choosing someone to settle down now, have these kids. Do you think guys ever get to that point?
Not in this day and age.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was like 15, 20 years ago, might have been a little bit different. But now, like, people in modern society, it's a little bit different now. Guys are like, people are more attuned to, like, financial stability. There's more information out about how to accumulate wealth and be more stable. So more some of my friends are like, nah, do you know what? I want to make sure I'm financially stable before I can set a foundation for serious dating and, like, do you know what I mean? Like, serious. Some people don't even want to date serious. Some people just like, I'm happy just being how I am. But if you are intending to date seriously, and when I say serious, I'm talking like marriage, kids. Yeah. Then the guys I hang around with, they're more interested in, like, building that financial stability. Yeah.
Would you say that's like the main reason? Because I've talked to some women where, maybe these women are in their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, and they're dating guys in their late 30s, early 40s. And they're like, these guys don't want to settle down. Like, what the fuck? How have you got to this age you don't want to settle down? And they always ask, like, why is that? And would you say that's the main reason? They're like, okay, making sure I'm financially stable first before I bring a woman in? Or do you think guys we're just staying more as everlasting bachelors, so to speak?
I think it could be the latter, because and we have to, like, just when we're talking about it, we have to understand this perspective is really from Western society, because in places like South America, Africa, it's totally different perspective on relationships and dating. So I'm only talking from a perspective of, like, Western society.
For sure.
And I feel like people have been put off by dating seriously or dating with the intention of marriage, because, the divorce rate is just skyrocketing. So people are like, nah, they're just a bit more cautious of, like, do I actually want to get married? And, like, society's set up in a way where marriage is not as beneficial as it was, 20, 30 years ago. It's not even that beneficial. And to unlock a marriage, if it doesn't work, a divorce is a lot of headache, a lot of wahala.
Yeah.
So
lot of wahala.
yeah, wahala, which is a lot of problem, basically.
Yeah.
So I think people don't even, like, when you say guys, they're just looking at it like, I'm making my money. I don't mind having, a serious girlfriend.
Yes.
But the whole marriage thing, everything has to fall in place, and she really has to be. If you're a guy that's doing really well, you're successful, you're making good money, and you're in a relationship. In this Western society, you still want the girl to, like, she really has to really tick that box for you to just go over the line and say, actually, I want to marry her.
Yep.
Like, that, in this day and age, I've seen that a lot. I don't think people are really trying to lock it in just yet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think part of that as well is so interesting because, we talk about the cost of living crisis. So it can be a lot harder to get financial stability for everyone a lot of the time, especially today. And so it's kind of like, I guess it's almost like a catch-22 for a guy if he's a bit older, because, okay, you're working on, if you're not in a position where you feel stable to invite a relationship in, you're like, well, I don't want to do that yet because I'm not the man that I want to be for the relationship. But then if you work so hard and smart to get to a point, you're in a really good financial space, you're like, I worked my ass off to get here, I don't want to risk it.
Exactly.
in case it goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a bit of a catch-22. So I guess for the women who were like, okay, I hear that, I appreciate your concern, because every time we have the marriage conversation, and I completely hear that, I'm usually making that perspective. Every time we have the marriage conversation, there's always two perspectives. There's the sentimental approach and then the logistical approach. And I think a lot of the time there's a mismatch in when men and women are talking about marriage, because women come in from the sentimental approach. And as guys, we're like, yeah, the sentiment's great, but if this goes wrong, logistically, this screws me.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I think they think that they could think, oh, he's not thinking about what it means and security and love and union. It's like, yeah, the marriage is great. It's the divorce that I don't want to do.
Exactly. and also in this society, in this day and age, it's like, maybe it's a little bit too deep, but if you're not religious, for example, some people are religious, but if you're not religious, what does it really mean? What's the difference? Like, what does it really mean? Because it's ultimately it's unconditional. It's a commitment, but like you can do that without marriage, and you don't have the financial complications.
Yeah.
So some people are like, right, we're good. Like, we work as a unit. You can even have kids without being married. So the whole marriage thing, in Western society, really only applies if you're like really religious. But then I think some guys are looking at it as like, well,
what do you need it for?
What do I really need this for?
I'm going to be honest. I think that one of the main, not saying that some guys don't get married, but I think the main reason why I think marriage is still pushed is because many women deeply desire security, and marriage is like the highest level of security that there is for them. The highest level. Because it's like, okay, you're married to this person, so you're going to be, there's a foundation with being with this person. And then even if you divorce, you kind of still get something from it anyway that's going to provide a level of security. But I think it's mainly about the security of the relationship also as well, I think it's validation that this man does actually see me for life.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean? So I guess the question I asked, what do you think? Okay, let's say we've got a woman, she's 32, 33. She wants to settle down and have kids. She wants to get married, right? She meets a guy, let's say it's a guy like you around that age, built himself up, etc. She's like, I understand your concerns for marriage, logistically, but it's so important to me. So what would you say to her? What can she do or say to said guy to reassure him about stepping into that contract with her, stepping into that, institution with her?
I think when you're getting into a long-term committed relationship and the goal is marriage for life, I think in relationships, you should treat them like your career. You should always have goals and work on building something. So like, okay, your marriage. Okay, what's the next goal? Do you know what I mean? Kids, a house, holidays. So I feel like sometimes when I look at just relationships in general, people don't really look at it. They just think, okay, I'm married now and I've got the ring, and that, I've got the ring, and they don't grow they're not trying to grow as a couple and have goals and try and achieve things. So I think then they feel like if I'm going to be in a relationship with someone, I'm like, okay, what's our growth? What's our journey look like? You have to look at your journey. What does our journey look like over the next, and not just the basic things like I want kids. Okay, cool. Everybody wants kids, but how do I see myself growing with you and building a future? Like what's your plans? And these things obviously have to be talked about beforehand. But I think that's the main key. If I'm looking at this person that I want to be with, I'm like, right, okay. Do you know what? She looks like someone that like we're going to build and grow together, and it's going to be an exciting journey having this relationship with her. Maybe she wants to travel, maybe she wants to, it's just a whole different stages in life that you can foresee and plan in that. I feel if you don't, a lot of people just like, okay, we're at this stage now, we're good, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, like it just becomes stagnant. Yeah. Like a career that's just stagnant. There's no growth, and then you just feel disillusioned. It's like you're not building with this person. So to answer your question, is like I feel like if I am going to look at someone long term, I have to just put my eye and see, and wow, what's going on at the end of that tunnel? Like how does the journey look? The exciting part, obviously there's going to be rocky patches and blah blah blah, but what's the exciting part of the journey in relationship with someone? 100%. So hypothetical, not saying this would ever happen, and not saying that this shouldn't necessarily happen. If divorce was illegal like it used to be, do you think more men would get married? In this day and age? That's an interesting question. Do I think more men would get married? No.
Okay.
If divorce was illegal, because I think that, like I said, like people have this fear of marriage now. Like people want this perfect. It's not people. There's not. People are just scared now. People, they don't want to necessarily. The guys want the perfect girl. The girls want the perfect man. So I'm like, if I am going to commit to you, it's like raw, and we can't break, and I'm it's for life.
Yes.
I don't know yet. I'm not sure. Are you for life?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I feel like I don't think it would be as people would take it up. That offer doesn't. It's like you have to show me the upside. Like what's the offer? What am I getting? Okay, we're a long-term committed relationship. Cool. I can do that without marriage. Kids, I can even have kids without marriage.
Very true.
In this day and age, we can live together, have kids. We can do all the things. We can be, finances can be all looked after. So, what am I getting? Just your security. Is that it?
Interesting. I wonder if it's like not on its way out, because I don't think it's on its way out. But I think it's used as something else now. I feel like marriage is almost used as. I think for a lot of women, it gives them status amongst other women.
Mm-hmm. That's
like,
true.
I'm married. I have the ring. He committed his life to me. He took the risk with me. Do you know what I mean? And that's why guys go, shit, you got married? Shit, good luck. Do you know what I mean? And this is why they say, this is why the slang, they say getting cuffed, right? For a guy, because it's the idea that your freedom is gone. Your freedom is gone. I'll be honest. I think, I haven't decided about whether I get married. I think I would do it culturally. I'm not sure legally for the reasons that you said. But if divorce was illegal, I would do it legally.
Right.
Because I think it would make people. It would make people take marriage a lot more seriously in terms of who they choose.
Yeah.
Also, I think it incentivizes people to work on it. Because I think, especially nowadays, our generations, we're very much a disposable, culture. Like, if something's broken, we get rid of it, get a new one. And I think we've really applied that to relationships and dating a lot. Sometimes it's the wrong person. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Things don't work. But I think sometimes there are things that could be worked upon that sometimes we just go, well, there's so many other people out there. If this is a bit too difficult and challenging, let's get rid of this. But any relationship that's going to stand the test of time is going to be challenging at different points.
Also, people with the growth of social media now,
yes,
and the internet, people just have way higher expectations.
Yeah,
I watch a lot of these things, and everyone's like, I want a high value man, I want this, and blah blah blah. I want, a girl, how much is her body count, all this type of stuff. And I'm sure back in the day, without all social media and all these influences, people didn't really know them things. You probably didn't ask them questions.
They weren't exposed to it.
You weren't exposed to all that. So now this search for perfection is so intense now. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I do think people would probably there'll be a lot more marriages because people were just like, right, do you know what? You work. Yeah. It's cool. We'll grow together. We'll make it work. It's like she ticks the boxes all now.
Yeah.
I'm willing to put the effort to make it, to go all the way.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that's how it was. Now it's like, there's just so many baddies on the gram. Does she really do it? And this one's like that. Does he really do that? But he hasn't got this. And it's just too much.
If you're loving this episode and these kinds of conversations, then I want to give you something. We recently launched the Kits Angels community. This is a sisterhood for women who are tired of what the dating scene has given them and are ready to take their love lives to the next level. It's a space for you as a woman to not be alone in your journey to love, where we learn, talk, and share our experiences as part of a strong sisterhood, with some leadership and guidance from yours truly, of course. Not to mention never before seen videos from me on how I've led dozens of women to meeting great men. And so as a thank you for watching this episode, I'm giving you a month's membership completely complimentary on me. Just click the Kits Angels link below, and when you join the group, message me the code phrase Angels Podcast and I will pay for your membership. Now back to the episode.
It's true. And the irony is that comparison is just a thief of joy. And so when you're exposed to it, you could take a girl, she's in a normal, happy relationship, and then she sees this huge YouTuber who bought his girlfriend a $150K car for Valentine's Day. Yep. And she's like, why am I not having that?
Yep.
You're Mazuki, having that? Babe, I earn a third of that in a year. What do you mean? What do you mean having that? But Buzz, you're a magician. Well-known magician, you've had the limelight and, you're doing your stuff. You've grown a lot since we last saw each other, which is great. Have you found, has that in your experience has that impacted your dating life at all, in terms of maybe the attention you get, in terms of maybe how women perceive you and stuff, because you've kind of built this brand for yourself?
I've always been in long-term relationships.
Okay.
But when I wasn't in long-term relationships, I've been a magician for God knows. Before that, I was a professional dancer. So I had the attention from dancing. I never actually used magic. Weirdly enough, I've got a lot of people like, oh, you're a magician. What, do you use that to like get girls? I never did that. As a dancer, you get the attention from girls, from people, anyway, just in general.
Yeah.
And I never had the dating experience of just like going out and trying to just move to girls. No. Because I just sort of was always in situations where I'm able to be introduced to girls because they're interested in what I'm doing. Oh, he's cool. You know, the status is like, oh yeah, that's that guy who's doing that. He's done that music video. He's doing this, blah, blah, blah. Or now a magician, whatever. Yeah. So I've never really had the hard graft of like, you know, like I've never done a dating app. I've never done one. So I don't even know what that whole world is. I've never needed to ever do that because I'm always in situations where
you can meet new
people.
Yeah.
So so I don't really have like, you know, lines, and I don't know all that stuff. It's just organic. Everything I've done has always been organic. Yeah. And in terms of like being able to, you know, have relationships or date girls, it's just being in the right environments. I think for me, I always think it's not rocket science. I think dating isn't rocket science. I think you just put yourself in the right environments, you know, make sure you look good, you dress well, you act well, you know, as in this day and age as a guy, you got to have a little bit of change.
Probably some kind of liquid to take her out a little bit.
I don't think it's rocket science. Like I genuinely don't think it's as difficult as, but I know a lot of people do struggle with it. I think it's just putting yourself in the right environments.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of environments, you're quite heavy in the salsa scene, right? What is the salsa scene like in terms of dating?
This is my big thing. When I talk to people about dating and stuff, guys and girls as well, like honestly, salsa is perfect.
Yeah, I always
in the dating scene. Obviously, there's a certain demographic or type of girl, so you might not be into like, you know, Latinos or Spanish, which is the main sort of demographic that tends to go to the salsa scene. Obviously, salsa's global, but I'm talking about the UK and you know, parts of American stuff. But salsa's perfect for guys. I don't get why. That's you learn salsa, learn how to dance. Honestly, learn it, because everything happens the opposite way. All the things that you have to do as a guy to approach women it's the opposite in salsa. It's all in your favor. Usually as a guy, you know, you go to a bar, you go to a club, you see some ladies across there and you have to do the approach at some point, you know, and, you know, you want to buy her a drink and then you're going to talk, have a chat, and maybe you get the dance. Yeah. Salsa's the opposite. You start with the dance. Just hold your hand out. So you're already in.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to buy the drink. You you hold your hand out, you start with the dance. And then afterwards, you might dance with her again. And then you just start a normal, natural conversation. Because I've danced with her about 3-4 times if she likes your dance.
Yeah,
exactly. In the night. And then I can do the drink. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of backwards and easier. Yeah. So in terms of the dating scene, I think like for guys, your life will change if you learn salsa. I'm telling you.
It's very true. Because I mean, you know, we know each other from, you know, salsa kind of back then through an ex of mine. And that environment, it's very normal to go up to someone and be like, hey, would you like to dance? And the thing is, you can dance with them and you'd be like, cool, that was it. Yeah. And there's nothing by it. You know, it's very normal. And even if you're new, a beginner, I mean, you know, even when I was, when I say in the scene, it wasn't in the scene, but even when I would go, you know, sometimes, and I can dance, but I'm very fresh with salsa. And sometimes girls would be like, hey, like, you know, I've not seen you dance the past few songs. Do you want to just have a dance? And people are very welcoming. So I always recommend to, you know, my female clients, like, get to salsa.
Yeah,
get to the salsa community. It's really good.
It's one of the most natural things, and it's very popular. And there's no sort of age range with salsa. It's from anything from 18 to like late like no word of a lie, like late 70s.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I know
interesting.
people are in the like. There's no age range. It's just people that just, just love music. Like it's just very social. It's a really, really good social dance, and it's global.
Yeah.
Like when
any
you learn
city.
salsa and you get good at it,
Yeah.
you have that stage of like where you start going classes, and you're at the beginning stage of going classes and also going social. So you meet people in the class. You can talk to, if you're trying to meet attractive ladies or attractive guys, whatever. You're gonna put yourself in an environment where, like salsa, because that's it tends to be like that. So you're gonna meet people in the class. You're gonna learn. Blah, blah. Oh, you're gonna go to this social thing afterwards. Then you're gonna be, and then you have someone you can learn with. And then once you get good,
Yeah.
it's global.
That's it. You're
Jamaica, Trinidad. No, I'm being legit. Egypt,
Yeah.
Morocco.
Yeah.
There's salsa everywhere. It's mad. It's a mad community. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I didn't
And,
realize how big it was until getting into it. I was like, oh right, like every major city in the world, you'll find it.
Yeah, and then you get to the stage of bachata,
Yeah.
kizomba,
Yeah,
and for guys, it's just like this is what ladies like. They like these style of dances.
yeah,
And so if you're looking to like, get to connect with people, that's the best thing to do. I'm not even
Yeah.
joking. That is like my number one thing to, not me personally. That's not why I go. I'm a dancer anyway, so I just love dancing.
yeah.
But I think like if you're trying to hit on girls, that's like
Yeah.
number one place.
So what if for example you get a guy, he's with he's got a girlfriend and everything like that, and she goes, yeah, I'm gonna start going to salsa. Should he be worried? Yes, he should. You see that hesitation? You should be worried, my guy.
Well, it's
He's gonna be there.
yeah,
Okay?
no, not even
No, I'm
because of that.
just
No,
joking.
not because of that. It's quite techie. It's very, very techie because
Yeah.
there's so much with salsa. There's quite a little bit to unpack because there's people who dance it because I'm a dancer. I
Yes.
love the dance. I love the social aspect, the music, the food, everything. Culturally,
Yeah.
I particularly got attracted to salsa because I'm Yoruba. So I was very fascinated by the Cubans that were really keeping the Yoruba religion with and just sort of like created this whole genre that that the old Yoruba, like the Orisha gods and all that stuff.
Okay.
I was fascinated by that, and I was like, right, like these in certain parts of Brazil and certain parts of Cuba. So I was just attracted to it in that sense, and I was like, right, like I'm gonna learn rumba. I'm gonna learn all these things, and then I started getting into the dance more and more. So I like it from that aspect, from a more just cultural, social aspect. So some girls are actually just because of the culture, the dance, blah blah blah, and they love dancing. But then if you're done, I tell you where I would be worried is if my girl was to be like, yeah, I want to start doing kizomba.
Okay. Why
So
is that?
kizomba is a African style of dance, very sensual, very very sensual style of dance.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I used to like go clubs and stuff, the way clubs used to work was like you always have all the sort of up-tempo tracks, and at the end of the night you have like the slow jams.
Yes.
That's when you find the girl and you just take her to the corner and you
Yes.
just grind on the slow jams. And if you go to African parties, that I found the one, and the kizomba comes on and you're just like grinding on her, or you're just like with someone that you've like connected with at the end of the night. But now it's sort of been popularized as this sort of genre of dance that's its own thing, but it's still, his origins is still like, nah, that's the girl I'm seeing, and at the end of the night. So when you watch kizomba, you're just like, it's a bit too
close.
yeah. So if my girl was to be like, yeah, I'm really into kizomba, I just want to do kizomba, and you're just like doing that, and they're 10-minute dances. Like salsa's one
wow.
track, move on.
Yeah, move on.
Kizomba is like 3 or 4 slow dances. So you're like, I'm not sure if I want.
Why are you
I've been
like hip to hip with this guy for like 10, 12 minutes?
Yeah. And it's funny, you have conversations with girls who are into kizomba. It's like, oh no, it's just a dance.
Yeah.
It's just a dance. Like, no, why can't you separate the two? And I'm like, I understand where, like, the origins of it and stuff like that. So I disagree. It's just a dance, because you just can't be just 3 songs.
For like hip to hip,
And you're my
moving.
girl.
No,
Unless you're doing it with me, like
yeah, exactly. Then fair enough. So do the girls feel the same way? Would they feel the same way about their man if they were doing it? Like, oh babe, I'm going to Kizomba. Like, do girls have an issue with guys doing it?
I think so. Well, it depends, because if you are a Kizomba teacher, that's what your thing. I mean, honestly, like, I think if you were dating someone and like a guy, like if you, that world. And I'm not fully into it, so I don't want people to flame me and say, "Oh, why are you trying to throw shade at Kizomba?" But I'm just being honest. From the eye test, the guys that I see that are popular with Kizomba, the girls, like, it would be very hard for a girl to take that kind of guy seriously. I would think they'll have issues, because those guys are going to get a lot of attention. If you're good and you can dance Kizomba, you're going to have a lot of attention from women. And you're just going to have a lot of sensual dances. And you're going to be the one that's going to be grabbed. And I don't know if a girl will be able to feel comfortable with that, to be honest.
Yeah, do you know, it's so interesting. And there's like everything's like a double-edged sword, right? There's nothing is all good or all bad. There's always pros and cons. And the pros to like the Salsa community, Kizomba community, is that, you can go, you can have a great time, and you can really meet someone. Yeah. And that's cool. It's fun. You know, it's no pressure, but it can be flirty and stuff. That's great. Then you have the relationship, and you're like, okay, now we can't go to this anymore. But you're like, wait, but I've worked a year to get to this point. Yeah,
no, it's definitely, like, salsa's a little bit different, because you can dance salsa with your nan. You know what I mean? You can dance salsa with, your mum. You can literally dance with yourself. But when you start saying Kizomba and bachata, especially sensual, there's a style called sensual bachata. Sensual bachata. Kizomba's the most sensual, and then there's sensual bachata, which is all sensual, sexual moves.
Right.
And they are sexual moves. Like, there's sensual, sexual, same thing. They're sexual moves. You're grinding and grinding on each other. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, you can't do that with your mum, for example. So
yeah, exactly.
If I can't do this dance with my mum and just do like the salsa 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, then I don't know how comfortable I'll feel with my girl if she was really into that. And for example, I can't do it, so she just wants to find this sensual dance.
This guy
who's just gonna, and
it's like, yeah, babe, I teach you private 1-to-1s. You're like, what?
Yeah,
your mind.
I've heard a lot of horror stories. So, like you said, it is a double-edged sword. Salsa, I'm a salsa guy mainly. So,
because I'm salsa. Okay, any girl watching this, I'm salsa.
Not in that sense. I mean, salsa. Like, I do think salsa is good for the dating scene.
Yes.
But then when you start going to the Kizomba and the bachata route, it might be good if you're trying to have casual dating, but if you're trying to do anything serious in that scene and you get good at it, I can just see it leading to a lot of problems, both sides, men and women.
I can just imagine like people from the Kizomba scene be like, oh, where's Murray? I haven't seen him for time. He got into a relationship, so he's not here anymore.
But you know what I do?
Where's Lucy? Yeah, same thing. She got into a relationship, so she's not here anymore.
That's true. But I do see some couples, but they're usually the teachers. I do know some couples who, have survived in the Kizomba scene without breaking up. But it's very, very difficult, because even if you're saying that, I want to, this is why I say it's different from salsa. Even if you're saying no, but I'm just doing it purely for the dance, I want to grow as a performer. So I'm going to do Kizomba with my boyfriend. I'm going to do Kizomba with my girlfriend. You still have this issue of like, if you're a dancer, you want to like grow in the dance. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I've danced with my girl for long. I want to like test my skill. Yeah. Somewhere, and it's like, so you want to test some sensual skills, dance skills with other girls. Yeah. And you might go, why? Why do you want to do that? Like, you're not happy. It's like, yeah, babe, no, but so it's just it's a weird thing, but
it's so true. I want to ask you one more thing. Okay, are the standards different for like a girl you would see more casually compared to a girl you would see more seriously?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know why it took long to.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, really? Maybe it's the same for you.
Yeah. No. Yeah, of course.
What would you say what's the differential standard between a girl you go, okay, cool, this is going to be just fun, and okay, this is a girl that I'm going to take seriously?
I think for girls that you just want for casual relationships, they don't need to tick as many boxes. You can be more free and more open.
If she does Kazumba, cool. She's this is going to be a casual relationship.
It's usually just about sex, isn't it? You just want to have sexual encounters. It's not like you don't really see. Like you can have one or two girls that you see casually, but usually if you have one or two girls, it's just like you're sleeping with one or two girls. Like you're not really getting into deep. You're not trying to build with them.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So you just want them for sex.
Yeah.
Just straight up. Whereas like with girls that you're trying to build with and trying to have a relationship with, they have there's different sets of criteria that you're looking for. It's not just about sex.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's about, you know, how is she ready to like build? Does she want kids? Is she, you know, have traditional values? If that's what you're seeking, things like that. So yeah, the rules are different for those two things, you know.
Do you think it's different for girls as well? In your experience, what you've seen, you've seen like a girl be like, oh, she's just seeing him casually, and no, this is the guy that she's actually seeing long term.
The girls that I've come across, I like that do date casually, have that mindset, but a lot of girls say they don't date casually. Most girls, maybe they do, but I think most girls, their aim isn't to have casual relationships, especially at the age of like, you know, but even if the girl's like 22, 23, they still want to date to have a serious boyfriend. Do you know what I mean? Now, they're not like guys. Guys tend to be a bit more like, like they just want to see their options. They want to lay the options out a bit longer before they make any like serious decisions.
Yeah. Do you feel like, and the only reason I ask this is because I'm not connected to that world anymore, but I heard stories. Is salsa, is it very incestuous? Like, do you feel like, do you see people, okay, they were dating and now she's dating him and now he's dating her and now, cool, they're together and now they're not getting on and now these two are hooking up and I didn't even know that she was hooking up with the teacher and blah, blah, blah.
I mean, but I think that's like any industry. Like, I will say that that is the case, but I think that's like in any industry. If you're a dancer, if you're in the commercial dance scene, if you're a West End dancer, you know, it's just your societies. I'm sure in the acting community they have their own, you know, people. So I think it's the networks you're in. The thing about the salsa scene or the Latin style dance scene is that it's because it's especially something like Kizomba, it's so sensual and sexual. It's just a bit more overt than it would be in like maybe acting or in a workforce. But most people, you know, kind of date within their environment, what's close proximity to them, you know. So if you're at the office, you're probably going to date, you know, you might start dating someone at work or something, you know?
Yeah, no, it's so true. Is there anything you want to bring to conversation today? Anything you want to talk about or ask about?
Not really, no.
Okay, let me ask you one more thing. I've got one thing for you. Okay, so what's the top 3 things you look for in a woman to give your commitment to?
Someone who is family orientated. Someone who has those kind of like mother kind of instincts, nurturing type of instincts. So I said that family orientated. So that's probably family orientated, ambitious, and someone who's understanding. And what I mean by that is that like they're willing to compromise. I'm in the entertainment industry, so it's a very, very competitive industry. It's probably hard to date seriously someone like me because I'm always looking to try and achieve like a certain amount of success, which means I have to dedicate my life and my career. That's at the upfront. Is, you know, I'm very career driven. And And in a relationship, I feel like you have to understand that, and some give and take. I have to commit to certain things in a relationship, but at the same time,
you're on a mission.
Yeah, in a mission.
Yeah.
So if you have understanding, you have that family, you're family orientated, and those are the main things, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Completely. Yeah. Listen, Bones, it's been an absolute pleasure, man, having you on. Thanks for giving us your take and giving us the inside scoops.
Yeah.
We love that. We love that. So if people...
No one flame me on about Kizomba. No one come at me. I'm sorry.
For him. It's okay. I love
Kizomba, by the way.
I pressured him. But if people want to find you and follow your stuff, where can they find you?
So I'm on all the socials. I'm on Instagram at Magical Bones. You can find me on there. Nice. Also on X. I don't use X as much, but at Magical Bones on there. And also on Facebook at Magical Bones, but I'm mainly on the gram.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's my gram is just about work.
Yeah.
So
perfect, man. Perfect. Well, we appreciate you sharing your energy with us. Thank you for coming on today, guys. Go give him a follow, give him a like, check out his next show and tour. Man's touring, doing his magical stuff. So all that good stuff. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode.